begin our training with the samurai sword with a basic draw and basic samurai sword stances. The first draw, I'll use my thumb on the guard handle of the sword to push the guard handle out. So I'm not just pulling with my hand, but I'm using my thumb. I'm not going to show a move, I'm not going to draw out this way, like I'm attacking somebody, but I'm going to do what I would consider a very non-confrontational draw. I'm going to bring it out and down to the side. And here's where I would do my bow. From here, I'm going to take my right leg and step backwards. And my sword is going to come up overhead in the first stance. When I grip my sword, I always leave a space in between my hands. The leverage of the attack with the sword is to push and pull. If I have no space, I don't have very much leverage. So one hand is up high, one hand is down low. I keep my grip relaxed enough so that I don't drop, or so that I don't grab so tight, but I also don't want it so loose that the sword falls. It's kind of like holding an egg. You don't want to crush the egg, but at the same time you don't want to drop it. So I have kind of a looser grip on the sword. Here we go. Stance number 1. Stance number 2. All of these stances have Japanese names. I'm a white guy. I'm not Japanese. If you really care about the Japanese names, you're welcome to email me, contact me anyway, and I can get that for you. I'm slowly going through each of our 10 stances. Number 1, the sword is up above my head. Number 2, the tip of the sword is facing my opponent's eyes. Number 3, the lower stance, the sword's facing the ground. Number 4, I call hidden sword stance, the sword's behind me. Number 5, I call side stance, it's resting against my side. 6 is just out at a small angle. 7 is straight up and down. 8, the blade is facing forward. The tip is facing forward, I should say, but the blade, the sharp edge of the sword, is facing the sky. 9, the sword rests on my arms, as if I'm using a heavy sword, and I'm using this as a resting position. And 10, the sword is straight out in a very offensive stance. Now I bring my feet together, I switch my legs, and we do all the stances again with my other leg forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll move a little faster now. To resheath my sword, if you're using a wooden sword, and in Japanese called boken, you won't have a sheath. If you're using a live sword, to resheath the sword, I'm going to take the end of the sword here, and I'm going to put it here next to my scabbard. My hand will wrap around my scabbard very close to the edge. My sword will come here, and I'll feel when the blade and the tip of the sword drops into the scabbard, and I start to put the sword away. When I start to put the sword away, I move the scabbard and the sword together at the same time. Not like this, because it's very dangerous, and I could shove the sword right through my hand, even when I'm looking. There's no way I could do this without looking. This is the wrong way to put the sword in the scabbard. From here, I can put it in, and I don't have to look at the sword at all. Again. I don't have to look at the sword. That concludes our basic sword stances.